Hello and welcome to Skeptical Yarn. My name is Katie and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Greenbridge headband. So this will be a tutorial for this pattern that I designed. And yeah, I think it's a really cute, simple pattern, perfect for summer, spring, really any season where you want to wear a headband. It ties, so it is super cute. And yeah, the inspiration for the name Greenbridge Headband actually comes from wildlife crossings, which are kind of segments of land that are built over highways and bridges and other sort of like human structures that can help wildlife cross over and avoid um, human collisions or anything like that. So I thought it was cute, and the lines on here kind of remind me of like a bridge, so I thought it was perfect. um but yeah, I would say that this is an adventurous beginner pattern. There are some stitches in here that are a little more difficult than your average crochet stitch. There will be a full list of all the stitches and skills we're using in the description, and I also have a paid pattern in the description too if you prefer a written pattern over a video tutorial. But yeah, let's get started. So for materials, you're obviously going to need some yarn. Really any weight will work for this project. I would recommend thinner weights, probably nothing bigger than a worsted, unless like a bulky headband is kind of the look you're going for. This one was made with a sport weight yarn and a 3.75 millimeter hook, which I'll also talk about in a minute. This here, I have a worsted yarn. It's made from cotton, so that's what I'll be using today. And for hook size, you really just want to pick a hook that matches your yarn, whatever yarn you're using, or even like half a millimeter to a millimeter size up. So for this yarn, I don't know what the actual recommended hook size is. I'm guessing it's around like a 5, so I'm using a 5.5, just because I can't find my 5 millimeter hook, unfortunately. So yeah, that will be good. And also just keep in mind, if you use a thinner yarn with a smaller hook, your headband is going to be thinner, and also it's going to require more repeats. And then if you use a thicker yarn and a bigger hook, your headband is going to be thicker and it's going to require fewer repeats. So there's that. The size hook you pick might also affect like the drape of the fabric, which isn't too important for this project since it is a headband and it can be a little stiffer. But just keep that in mind, that if you're using a hook that's a little bit bigger than the recommended hook size, it's going to be a little bit drapier, and also vice versa for a smaller hook. Other than yarn, we're also going to need a pair of scissors. We're going to need a measuring tape. This one, I like to use the inches, but you can use centimeters too. We're going to need a darning needle for the end of our project. And this is optional. You can have a stitch marker on hand. This could be helpful for more beginners who are less confident in, stitch visibility, and like where to place the next stitch. And I'll show you where this will be helpful if you need it. And if you don't have an actual stitch marker like this, you can use a bobby pin, a safety pin, or even just like a little piece of scrap yarn about this big. All right, and now we're going to get into the pattern. Another reminder, I do have the written pattern in the description if you prefer written patterns. But first, we're going to start off with just making a slip knot. I like to make a slip knot by kind of doing like the magic ring method. So I just catch that loop there, and then I just pull that tight. You have a little bit of tail for sewing later, and we'll get started. So first, what we're going to do is we want to chain a length of about 15 inches or 36 centimeters or more, depending on how long you want your straps to be. I find that 15 centimeters is kind of the perfect length to fit like the average adult head. If you're making a child's headband, you might want to make it shorter. If you want a little bit more room to tie, you might want to make it a little bit longer. But we're going to start by just chaining, and I'm not going to go into like intense detail when it comes to the stitches in this pattern, but I mean, of course I will be showing you how I do them. But if you need a more in-depth tutorial on any of the stitches, I suggest you just, Google a video or something like that. Because I will not be going into that in too much detail in this tutorial. The exact number of your chains doesn't matter too much. Later on when we do the other strap, if you want to make it even, you might want to count, but it doesn't really matter if you have the exact number of chains on both sides. It's really just about the length, so it's up to you if you want to make it perfectly even or not. Okay, I'm gonna measure this now. Let's see where we're at. Okay, it's about 15 inches. I think I'm gonna do just a few more, just make it a little bit longer. All right, and that's probably about 15 and a half to 16 inches. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch down the row. So starting in the second chain from your hook, which is going to be, we're not going to count this one, we count 1, 2. I do recommend that you crochet into the back bump of the stitch, which is going to be, so normally some people will crochet into this space here. I'm going to recommend that you crochet into the back bump, which if you can see, there's like this bump, this bump, this bump. So crochet into those. All right, I actually decided to switch over to a 6.5 millimeter because my chain was way too tight for me to crochet into those back bumps. So that just kind of proves that everybody makes mistakes, and you can always adjust your hook size if you need to. So I'm going to chain again. All right, now I'm in my chain again, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to crochet into the back bumps again. So it's a little harder to see here, but like this, here's a back bump, here's a back bump, here's a back bump, and so on. Slip stitch. And like I said, you want to keep these a little bit looser, just so it doesn't tighten up your chain, like so. Still a little bit tight here. Honestly, this yarn isn't the best. It's kind of splitty. I think this is Lily Sugar and Cream cotton yarn, so in case you were wondering. So yeah, this is what it's gonna look like. And if you just keep doing it down the row, I will meet you back over there. So we just want to slip stitch in every chain down to the end of the chain. So I have one slip stitch left, doing that back bump of the last chain, and that step is complete. Crocheting into the back bump kind of just makes like a nice flat strap here. And so I don't know, I just feel like it is a little bit less bulky than it normally would be if you crochet into the chains normally. So after we complete our last slip stitch into that last chain, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to place 3 single crochets into that last chain that we slip stitch into. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. Actually, that one's a little bit loose. Let me redo that. 2 single crochet and 3 single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. And now we're going to double crochet into the first single crochet. So that would be this one here. Double crochet. And we're going to chain one, and we're going to double crochet into the same stitch. Alright, so that's double crochet, chain one, double crochet. And now we're just going to repeat this for the next 2 single crochets. So we're going to do 1 double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that same stitch, double crochet into the last single crochet. Oh god, I don't know if you can tell, but this cotton is kind of hard to work with. Alright. Then we chain 1 and double crochet into the same stitch. Alright, so now this is what we're looking like. It's a little messy here at the end. So if you are using a bigger hook and thicker yarn, this hole will be kind of larger just because you had to put so many stitches into it. At the end, when we weave in this end, if you want to, you can always like sew it up a little bit if that is your preference, but honestly I'll probably just leave it, and you don't really notice it anyway when you're wearing the headband because it is kind of hidden by your hair depending on how long you make this part of the headband. Alright, so now at the end of that row we're going to chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to count as a stitch. So where the stitch marker comes in handy is going to be in this second stitch here. I'm going to put it in there. So not the top one that we just made, but the second chain in that chain 3. So you can put that there for later. We're going to turn our work. So now we should have 9 stitches. So if you count this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a double crochet there. Okay. So yeah, we're going to turn our work. So we're going to skip the first double crochet, which is this one here. It's the last double crochet in the previous row that we made. And we're going to double crochet into the chain space. Sorry for the shaky camera. I'm balancing you on a tissue box right now. Hello, Portia. Portia's meowing at me. Alright. So after that double crochet, we're going to chain 1. And we're going to skip the next stitch. So this is a double crochet we're skipping. And we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. So that's another double crochet. Do it in there. And then unravel some yarn. Now we're going to repeat those instructions. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, which is a chain in this case. We're going to double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to chain 1 again, skip this stitch, which is a double crochet into that chain space, and then the repeat is over. So now we're going to just double crochet into the last double crochet. So this is the chain, And it might be a little tricky to see, but this V here is the double crochet from the last round. It's a little hard to see because at the beginning of that round we chained 1. It's a little shorter than the rest, but that will be fixed. All right, so that's that double crochet. This is how it's looking. Trust the process. Looks a little messy before it's done. So here you're still going to have 9 stitches. You're going to have this chain 3, which is 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here we're going to chain 3 again. And if you have another stitch marker, you can put that in the second chain again. And we're going to turn our work. So this time we're going to skip the first double crochet here, the stitch, and we're going to do a front post double crochet over the next double crochet. So this is one of the stitches that's a little bit more advanced than the others. So how we do this is we yarn over just like a regular double crochet, and instead of crocheting into this V here, into the stitch, what we're going to do is put our hook in the space next to the stitch and then bring it out on the other side of the stitch. And from here we yarn over, and then we have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, pull through 2, yarn over again, pull through 2. So that's a front post double crochet. It adds this kind of texture to the crochet. Pretty cool. And then after that front post double crochet, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to repeat that. Front post double crochet on the next double crochet. Again, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 1 again and double crochet here. Then we chain 1. Sorry about my dog barking if you can hear him. And then at the end of the row, we're not going to chain 1. We're just going to double crochet into that second stitch of the chain 3. So where we have our stitch marker. So it's not in the top of the chain, it's in the second chain. Okay. And that kind of just helps the edges stay a little bit more straight than if we were to crochet into the top of the chain. So now you can remove this stitch marker. Now at the end of that row, we're going to chain 3 again, and you can continue using the stitch markers to mark that second chain if you need to. I'm not going to from here on out though. And we're going to turn our work. So you can already see the little bumps forming that makes the pattern of the headband. So this row, we're going to skip the first double crochet, which is here, and we are just going to double crochet into the next double crochet as normal. And we're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip over this chain stitch, and we're going to double crochet into the next double crochet. And repeat. We're going to chain 1, skip that, chain, and then double crochet into the double crochet. Then one more time, chain 1, double crochet into this double crochet. And then at the end, we're not going to chain 1, we're just going to double crochet right into that second chain space here. I'm actually going to take this out. So we're going to double crochet into that second chain space. It doesn't really matter which loops you crochet into for here, just really any works. And then we get that nice straight edge on both sides. And at the end of this row, we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. So the rest of the headband is really just going to be a repeat of those 2 rows that we did. I will do another repeat of the rows with you, but then I'll meet you at the end of the headband. So to do another front post double crochet row, we're going to skip this first double crochet and we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we do another front post double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, unravel more yarn, another front post double crochet, chain 1, one more front post double crochet, and then no chain 1 at the end here, and we just double crochet into the second chain here. Voila. Then chain 3, turn our work, turn on the right side again. So we're going to just do a regular double crochet row. So we're going to skip this first double crochet stitch. We're going to double crochet normally into the next double crochet, excuse me. Then we chain 1, we skip the chain stitch, double crochet into this double crochet. Count how many times I'm saying double crochet in this video. Chain 1 again, skip that chain, double crochet, one more chain 1, and a double crochet, and then no chain 1 at the end. We're just going to double crochet into that second chain here. If I can get my hook through there. Okay. All right. So basically when you do the pattern, it's really just on a double crochet row, you're just chaining over the chain spaces, skipping those, and then on the front post rows, we are also skipping the chain stitches and we're just doing the front post double crochets onto these 4 double crochets here in the middle. And the ones at the ends are going to be just kind of bordering our headband. So yeah, we just repeat those 2 rows until your headband reaches about 10 or 11 inches. That's going to be a good size fit for like the average adult size head. If you're doing it for a child or a baby, do it smaller based on the size of the child's head, and so on. This will be, so you'll want to complete you'll want to continue the repeat and then end on a front post double crochet row. So that's going to be the last row that you do in the repeat. So I've just ended on a front post double crochet row and my headband is about 10 inches. So that's excluding the straps. So you just want to make sure the body of your headband is about 10 to 11 inches. And keep in mind that the last few rows of the headband will add another inch or so depending on the size of yarn and hook that you're using. So if you're using like a smaller hook, smaller yarn, I would say you might want to crochet closer to like 11 inches. If you're using a bigger yarn, bigger hook like I am, you might want to crochet closer to 10 inches for that average adult size head. instead of a chain 3 at the end of this row, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to start decreasing. So here we're going to double crochet 2 together in the next two double crochet stitches. So that's going to be a yarn over, double crochet, well, insert your hook into the first double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to yarn over again, insert that hook into the next double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 3. I'm going to mark this first stitch of the row just so when I'm coming back on the next row I know that this is the first double crochet. Because we made a chain 1 at the beginning of the row, it can be a little difficult to find that last stitch sometimes because it's a little bit slanted and shorter than the others. So next we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just do 2 more double crochet 2 together, but we're going to just disregard these chain spaces. We're just going to do it right back into these double crochet stitches. So right from the first decrease stitch, we're just going to yarn over and insert it into the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, insert it into the next double crochet. We're skipping this chain, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3, and then one more time. We're gonna yarn over, skip this chain stitch, we're gonna ignore it, double crochet, or start to double crochet into the next double crochet, pull through 2, yarn over. So here we're going to do the same thing we've been doing throughout the pattern. We're going to use the second chain as a double crochet, pull through that, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3 for the final one. So now we're going to have 3 stitches left. So 1, 2, 3. So here we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're just going to place a single crochet into each of these stitches. So 1, it's kind of mirroring the beginning of the headband. 2, and I marked this so it's easy to see. 3. Ooh, stitch marker is getting in the way. 3. Okay, so now we still have 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm going to remove this. We're going to chain 1, turn our work again, and we're going to slip stitch into the middle stitch here. So just a regular slip stitch. Okay, and then we're going to start to do our second strap. So if you did write down the amount of chains you did for the first strap, that's great. You could do that amount. I'm just going to eyeball it and make sure that it measures 16 inches like I did in the beginning. So we'll just chain to that length or number, whatever you prefer. So once your chain is the length that you want it to be, we're going to do the same thing we did at the beginning, which is crochet into the back bumps, or slip stitch into the back bumps, starting from the second chain on your hook. So just like the beginning, we're going to go into that back bump. First one is usually the hardest in my experience. Okay, especially when your yarn is Lily Sugar Cream, no shade. Okay. Nope, didn't do it. Come on. My hook is also just very blunt, which doesn't help. Okay. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to slip stitch. Again, keeping your tension a little bit looser here. and slip stitching in each chain all the way down until you reach the body of the headband again. So now I have a couple chains left. Just going to continue slip stitching through the back bumps. Nice and relaxed, not too tight. And that's the last one. And then at the end here, we're going to just slip stitch back into, I'll show you, into that same stitch that we slip stitched into before chaining for the strap. So the one that's in the middle of that last single crochet row, we're going to slip stitch there. And then we can chain one and fasten off. Grab the scissors. Okay. Pull that tight. And we are finished crocheting. So now all you got to do is weave in these two ends and you have a finished Greenbridge headband. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and if you followed along and made your very own Greenbridge headband, I would love to see it. So tag me in any posts that you make or send it to me on Instagram. I would love to see. And yeah, I feel like it's just a nice, simple, quick headband pattern. It's good for having, you know, leftover yarn, things like that. You can wear it both ways if you want to. But yeah, that is everything. So again, thank you for watching. As a reminder, I do have that written pattern linked in the description if you're interested in buying that and supporting me, or if you just prefer to read your patterns. But that is it. Thank you so much, and hope to see you in another video. Bye!